Okay, here we go. So, my friends, we are going to start in our backs, actually, all the way down onto our backs this evening. Thank you for joining me for Weekly Yin, wherever you are joining from. Super excited as class is expanding. So, just make your way all the way down onto your back. You can have your things close by, but we don't really need anything just yet. So finding a comfortable position where you can land fully on your spine, fully on your back. Maybe you have to shimmy or shake the hips out a little bit or from side to side. Maybe you feel like you need to reach your arms up or move your head or your neck a few times. But once you've gotten some of those wiggles out, just begin to find that stillness of landing on your mat, landing down on your mat. And allowing yourself to breathe here. And essentially allowing yourself to breathe in whatever rhythm or depth you'd like to breathe in. So if it feels like you need to take longer inhales and exhales to settle yourself down to the earth, then do so. Allow there to be space in between your inhales and exhales, even if it's only a moment. Allowing yourself to notice the air around the body. If you can feel this air on your skin, maybe it's on the face. Somewhere below the nose or the lips. Maybe at the toes or the feet. Maybe it's at the fingertips or the palms. And just allowing yourself to become very much aware of your external environment. The noises, the temperature,
the weight of the body on the earth. Really noticing how much you can allow yourself to settle down into the earth. Then just give yourself a moment here, one more moment longer. Giving ourselves space from the day we had before us. And then you can go ahead and start to wiggle the fingers. You can start to wiggle the toes. And then from here, go ahead and reach the arms up overhead. Reach and point your toes forward. So we're reaching these limbs in opposite direction. And then slowly, gently relax the arms down by your sides. Bend your knees and plant your feet on the floor. And just for the next few moments, just gently rock these knees from side to side, like you're creating the windshield wiper action with the legs. You can move slowly, moving slowly. Then the next time those knees are over to the left, go ahead and keep them there and open up your arms. Instead of to a T, go ahead and open them up to like a goalpost shape or like a cactus shape with the arms. So the palms are up, your elbows are bent at 90 degrees. Beautiful. And then go ahead and pick those knees up through the center and allow them to knock over to the right. Then go ahead and rotate yourself, your whole body over to that right side. And just pause there for a moment. There's no rushing this evening. And then we're going to press ourselves up and into a 90-90 shape with the legs. So we're already here on the right side. So this left hip, this left leg is going to be forward. And this back hip is going to be in extension and internal rotation. I just like to line myself up, knowing that, okay, I have a 90-degree shape in both my knees. Okay, my heels are in line with my knees as well. And we're going to start off facing our front leg. And now you can stay upright here, okay? Or if you can hinge yourself forward, you may want to use your blocks a little bit. If you can hinge yourself forward while keeping the spine long, then do that here. And what we're kind of looking for is some juicy, like stretch sensation somewhere in this front hip. Maybe it's the glutes, maybe it's the outer hip. And we're just going to allow ourselves to breathe, but without this roundedness of our spine. So we want to keep this upright spine. The focus is on the hips in this position. And then from here, I'm going to have you press your legs into the ground, especially this front one, like you're pressing the ground away from you. You might feel like this uplift sensation that starts to happen in the chest because of the leg pushing into the ground. And just sort of keep this whole pressure down. Doesn't have to be crazy or super high. It can be a little lighter, but keep that pressure down for another 5 for me. 4, 3, 2, 1, and then relax. Let it go. Maybe you can sink down a little deeper. Maybe you want to change the rotation in your torso, just keeping the spine long. We're going to hold here for just a little bit longer. Again, thinking keep that spine nice and long, nice and open. Take a breath in, and then as you exhale, again, start to press this whole leg into the ground. Press it down, press it in. It can be a low intensity or a medium intensity, and then just hold that for me for 5. Still breathing smooth. And slowly, gently relax. Let yourself settle a little deeper. Just here for a few more rounds of breath. And then
pressurize down with the leg so it can help you sit yourself up a little bit more upright. And we're going to turn our attention, turn our torso towards our back leg and our back hip. And here, I just want you to use your arms as we're turned over here on this side. We may have a lot of stretch sensation in here in this portion of the hip. And allow your eyes to soften and just breathe into that sensation that you may be feeling. And then from here, I'm going to invite you to press this whole leg down. So really press this whole leg down. Start nice and light with this contraction and then ramp up a little bit. So start to increase that contraction for me. And just hold for a full deep breath in. Deep breath out. And relax. We're going to stay here a little bit longer. Maybe you can turn your torso more towards this thigh. If it's too much for you, then just back away, lean back. Okay, lean back. If it's too much, you're like, I need a little bit more space. I'm getting a pinch. Lean back a little bit. Or if like the arms are tired, just lean back, getting a little lower. And then again, go ahead, press down with this thigh, this whole thigh, press it down. For a big breath in and a big breath out. And slowly, gently relax, relax and let it go. And then from here, my friends, use both your legs to sort of help lift your torso up. We're going to roll here over, dropping the hips down and make our way into our tabletop position, hands and knees. Don't worry, we're going to do all that on the other side, okay? In your tabletop, we're just going to take a few rounds of our cow, our flexion, and our extension. Feeling free to close the eyes. Feeling free to make this more yours if it feels like you want to add some side bending in, add some circular motion in. Beautiful. And then go ahead and tuck your toes if you can. Tuck your toes and shift your hips back. So I want this to be kind of like an active child's pose where we're actively pressing back. Actively pressing in the hands. Maybe you allow your elbows to settle, but you're still actively just pressing back, getting that stretch in the toes. If it's not possible, just untuck them. Okay, but I want to stretch out those toesies if we can. Beautiful. And then shift yourself forward. Now utilize your blocks if you need to.
to elevate the hands. And we're going to bring the left foot in between the hands. So we're in this low lunge-esque position. Now, you can stay back here, or you can walk yourself forward a little bit. I just caught a glimpse of that big bee that was flying by back behind me on the screen. It just made me happy and distracted. Sorry. So you can stay forward or stay a little hinged back, but we want to open up the hips a little bit, get into especially this back hip flexor. Now, before we settle, I want us to press down and in with our legs, like we're trying to slide them together. All right. So we take a breath in, exhale. As we're exhaling, we're hugging the hips in towards midline. On the inhale, relax. Exhale, let's hug in again. Hug in, hug in, hug in, hug in. Inhale. Relax. One more time. Exhale, big hug in. You might feel that uplifting sensation. And relax. Staying here for just a little longer. Maybe you want to elevate your hands. Some of you, God bless you, you may be able to drop down here, or even you might want to open up here. And you can do that. If it feels way too much for the groin and the hip, just stay upright. So there's a little bit of activeness if we're upright, especially pressing those hands into the blocks. And then slowly, gently, we're going to press ourselves out of this. Just straighten up the leg. You need to bring this other hand, this opposite hand, or both hands straddling this front leg. We can. If you need to come forward, backing out of it, and then come back in here, you can as well. Sometimes I even bring my hands behind me for support. We're not here super duper long. Beautiful job. And then bring yourself forward. And from this position, we're actually going to find our 90-90 just on the other side. So I like to drop my hips over. And I'm kind of there. Kind of have to shimmy and shake, adjust your position here a little bit. But this left hip is now in the front. And the right hip is in the back. And we're in this hip extension with internal. And the front leg is in external rotation, hip flexion. Now, with our front hips work that we're going to do, we want the chest forward, spine long. And you can stay here, or if you want and need more stretch sensation in the hip, just hinge yourself forward and down a little bit, drop down a little bit. But I'm not rounding, right? I lose my stretch if I do that too, by the way. Like,
For me and a lot of people, you're going to find if you're here, you're going to lose stretch. But if we're here, it keeps that tailbone, the pelvis, and that anterior tilt, which an external rotation of the hip will give us more sensation. And just breathe. Just breathe. And then from wherever you are, I'm inviting you now to push this whole leg, front leg down into the ground. Start light, start very light. Increase if you'd like to, increasing that pressure down with the leg. Just hold for another breath in and fully relax and settle. If you need to adjust yourself, your position, my body's telling me I need to rotate my torso. As we stay and hold and breathe. And then we'll take a breath in. And as we exhale, press down with this front leg again, creating some effort, some tension. A lot of times, super tight tissue is tight because it needs to activate and get some work into it before it knows and can fully release. That's why we're creating this pressure down. And then relaxing. Relax, 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 relax. Allow yourself to settle. Allow yourself to settle. Beautiful. And then press down with this leg. It's going to help us lift ourselves up. And we get to turn and face this back hip. Now, as I turn and face the back hip, you'll feel that pelvis rotate a little bit too. That's okay. That's okay. It's going to help pull this femur and this hip inwards. You can stay upright, or if you're like, oh, this side is different, it doesn't feel right. Remember, you can always drop down. This takes pressure off this hip and this area. Okay. Just breathe. Just breathe. And then same as we did before, let's pressurize down through this back leg. So you're pressurizing down, start light, and then if you want to press a little bit more, a little bit heavier, do so. And then relax and settle, relax and settle. Beautiful. And we'll do this again. We'll take a breath in. And one more time, pressurize down. And relax and settle. Just allow yourself to breathe here for a few more moments. Beautiful. And then from here, we're going to press down with both of our hips to help us turn and lift ourselves up and back into our tabletop position. Back and up into our tabletop position. And then just go ahead and just shimmy and shake those hips side to side, maybe giving yourself a little half circle forward, half circle back. We'll do that again. Half circle forward and back, half circle forward and back. And then let's shift, pressing into those hand hips all the way back, but then forward. So letting like the hips be what's helping guide you. It's almost like you're trying to create oval shape with those hips, one direction. Let's reverse it, other direction. Oof. Hips are popping and clacking all over the place. Popping and clacking all over the place. Beautiful. And if it feels like the next time you're forward and you want to stay forward in this knees down supported, upward facing dog shape, so spinal extension, you can. We're not going to be here super long, just finding a shift. Pressing into the ground, maybe squeeze the glutes to support your back here. And then shift up and back into a child's position. Go ahead and open up those knees nice and wide for your child. Allowing your arms to be forward, maybe your head to tuck in. Supporting yourself with yoga blocks or blankets or a bolster. And sending your breath into the belly, the low back, the armpit. The ribs.
And then from here, slowly, gently, let's start to bend your elbows, bringing the hands together behind the back of the neck. And if there's not enough sensation for you in your upper arms or in your armpit areas, go ahead and grab your blocks and play around with elevating those elbows and then bending, bringing the hand behind the head. Same thing, think about breathing out nice and evenly. Relaxing those ribs down. And from here, go ahead and start to press your elbows down into the blocks or into the ground, wherever they are. A little bit of effort, like you're trying to elbow the ground. Just hold that for a full breath in. Full breath out. And relaxing. Seeing if we get any closer to the ground. And we'll do that one more time. We'll take a breath in. And exhale, drive the elbow down into the ground, the elbows. Getting the whole anterior part of the shoulder to just turn on a little bit. So when we release on your next exhale, we can release fully. And then slowly, gently straighten the arms. Shift yourself forward, and we're going to come on to all the way down onto the belly. Straightening out those legs. Bringing the hips down to the ground. And we're going to keep these forearms on the ground. And actively just press the ground away from us. Inhale. Let the shoulders dip back down to the ground. Exhale. Actively press those arms and shoulders down and away so you'll get that lift in the chest. Inhale. Surrendering back down. Exhale. Push down and away. It's like we're doing little mini scapula push-ups with our hips supported. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhaling, settling. Exhaling. Press down and away. 1 more time. Settling. And press down and away. I must be lucky. I just got bird poop on me. 1 more time. Inhaling, settling, exhaling, press down and away, and you're gonna keep this pressure down and away. Chin can say gently tuck towards your chest. If you want to contract your glutes a little bit, contract the glutes to support your back, but we're going to stay here and breathe just for a few moments into the front of the chest. One more round of breath. Beautiful. And slowly, gently let yourself roll all the way down to the ground. Maybe bringing the forehead to the earth and then just bend those knees. And again, windshield wipe those knees from side to side. Good job. And then straighten out those legs, shift up and back. And go ahead and bring yourself forward and seated. And just, if you need to, just sort of move your blocks out of the way. Bring your hands behind you here and the feet out in front of you, a little bit wider than hip distance apart. And we're going to allow both knees to knock completely down over to one side and stay back a little bit. Press your feet into the earth. Start to rotate for me. Those knees over to the other side. Now, if you find that I need to separate my legs a little bit more, separate the legs a little bit. Press down. Opening, opening, opening. Rotating to the other side. Just a few more times. Just a few more times, nice and slow from side to side. It's sort of putting together all that stuff we did for our hips. Nice. We'll do it again. Good. And one more time. Beautiful, beautiful. And then go ahead and lift both those legs up. Straighten out those hips. Straighten out those hips. Or legs, I should say. Straighten out your legs. And grab your blocks so they're close by. Okay, and then go ahead and just allow yourself to hinge forward into this wide leg position and allow the spine to gently round and fold forward. And if you want to support yourself, forehead's on a block, you can. If you're like, oops, I need multiple blocks, go ahead and do that. If this doesn't feel right, like this doesn't feel like the best option, you can always bend your knees, planting the feet together, and kind of find the same thing here as well. Totally up to you. This is more, I feel hip capsule focused. With this one out here really targets like the hamstrings, the whole backs of the legs. It targets a lot for me. So I tend to lean towards this. But if you want to go with the feet together, the knees wide, please do. In keeping with the theme of the evening, go ahead and press wherever your feet are, your legs down into the ground. Press them down. So we're trying to fire up that stuff behind the legs, behind the knees. And then relax. Settle. See if you can settle into the ground a little bit more. And we'll do that again. One more big breath in. Exhale. Pressing down with the whole backs of the legs. Pressing the heels down into the ground. Go ahead and hold that for me. And then relax and settle back down into the ground. From here, go ahead and slowly, gently use your legs, press down, use your hands to press yourself back up. And we're gonna finish in a supported fish this evening. That's what I'm going to guide, finishing in supported fish. At any point in time, you can shift out and change out of this position, but this is gonna be our last long hold, essentially our Shavasana. So, excuse me, I'm gonna slide myself forward, giving myself a little bit of space on my mat. One block. The one block is going to go lengthwise. Let me do it from here. Lengthwise in between the shoulders. The second block, and you can adjust that and fix that where you need to. The second block is going to come on level 2, okay, underneath the head. So sometimes I set them up before I lay back there. Sometimes I take them with me, especially that block for underneath the head. And you can drape yourself down, adjusting the blocks as needed. Now, I like to open up my arms, palms open. Sometimes I even like to bring the soles of my feet together and allow my knees to knock out nice and wide. So your legs can be straight, they can be bent. Wherever you are, finding this chill and relaxed position. For once more, just like at the beginning of class, we can use our natural breath to bring us deep and heavy into the ground. Feeling the air on our skin. Noticing the sounds around us. And when your mind starts to wander away from this moment in time, bring yourself back into the act of breathing. Even if that means you have to lengthen the inhales and exhales. And then if the legs were open, you can start to bring them closed. And just roll onto one side. Giving yourself a moment here, one last moment here. Then slowly, gently press yourself up to a comfortable seat. And my friends, we'll take our last breath together. So go ahead and reach your arms up. Growing tall, growing long. And exhale. Hands down through heart center. Take a moment, find some gratitude for this space and time that we all spend together. Thank you so much.